Alright, hey guys. This is an ANCAP cat here, and I'd say there's lots to unpack today because I'm going to discuss a couple things. I'm going to discuss, the Charlie Kirk assassination, the Ukrainian refugee stabbing, I think the Minneapolis shooting, and just violence in general in the US. Anyways, as a lot of us know, Charlie Kirk, a conservative speaker or advocate, he just got shot like 7 days ago, September 11th, and he got shot by this guy named Tyler Robinson, I think. Tyler Robinson, and I'm watching a video on another video of a guy basically covering this whole, you know, fiasco of what's going on. Damon Cassidy. Um, Damon Cassidy, this guy right up here. I really recommend his videos because he talks about how the system is bad. I mean, he's not like a NANCAP or anything, but he does acknowledge and offers some insight on why the job market, for example, is just so bad with all this elitism and ghost jobs and inflation and taxation, all that. So I really recommend watching his videos. And he's discussing why everyone's giving up on America. So anyways, I might discuss that video itself too. But anyways, to start off with, what frustrates me about this whole thing is the way people are treating his death. Like, I don't like the people who are cheering his death. And I don't... But I'm also kind of off put by the people acting like he was, like, some sort of hero. I mean, I wouldn't call him a hero because... well, first off, he supported some... he's conservative. He's the conservative on the right speaker, right? So, he supports government, and I don't support government, so I really don't like his viewpoints in regards to supporting government. But I also acknowledge you don't shoot someone for disagreeing with you, whether they're right or wrong. You don't shoot someone for disagreeing with you, and I heard that's why Tyler Robinson shot Charlie Kirk. It's because, well, he didn't like his viewpoints, so he shot him. And now he's been caught. But you see, here's the thing. Let me just get rid of the screen real quick. Yeah, turn off the window capture. Okay, so here's the thing.
This is what you open your...
Okay, yeah. Anyways. I feel like people don't know how to treat, like, death in America, or murder in America, at least the US, because we have all these horrible takes on his death, the way I see it. You have these takes where, oh, we must rise against the left. The left is evil. The left is shooting us. We must fight back. They're very bad. Fuck the left. They must be hit back the way they hit us, like the right, a lot of the right saying that. And then you have, okay, that's what a lot of the right is saying. Then you have a lot of the left saying, oh, wow, he died, big deal, oh, big deal, or cheering it on, like, yay. And I don't like that either. Like, I don't see this as an opportunity to, like, start a civil war, and I don't see this as something to cheer for either. So you got these people that go like, we should go to war, and these people that are like, we should cheer this on, and both viewpoints, the way I see it, are wrong. Because war is not a good thing, and I don't think they're just supposed to go after all these people just because this one person was killed by this one other person. And that's what I think with the standard right was wrong with the standard right viewpoint. As for the left, I don't think it's right to just cheer this guy's death on because he didn't deserve to die. And two, even if he did, I don't believe in cheering someone's death. Like, I don't believe in clowning on bad people. I believe in getting justice against them, but I don't believe in clowning on them. And that's what these people are doing. They're clowning on them. Clowning on Charlie Kirk for dying, for getting shot, for getting murdered. And I don't agree with that. And that's not even the solution to the problem of people disagreeing with each other, people not liking each other, people not liking the current administration or the current government, or or how to deal with issues. You don't just like go shoot people for having this viewpoint, this complex, and this take on how things should work. That doesn't fix anything. That's just violence, unjust aggression, unjust violence, which ANCAPs are against. I'm not for anybody shooting anyone over disagreeing like this, like oh, I mean, I wouldn't want ANCAP shooting status and vice versa. I wouldn't want status shooting status or ANCAP shooting ANCAPs. I don't support violence, unjust violence, period. Aggression. I don't support that. I mean, I do believe that his death shows there's something wrong with this country. Like, I will agree with people that his death is more than just his death. Like, I mean, yeah, he left the family behind, but I agree with people that it's more than just that. I agree that it's like part of a bigger problem, bigger picture, that, in America, we can't agree to disagree. We can't be peaceful about disagreements. We can't handle issues peacefully. I would say it's like a mark of that, an indicator of that. But for people to just act like this is the call to rise to arms or something, I know something has to be done about, his death and just the chaotic mess this country, let alone this world is. But I mean, I wouldn't really go for a rise to arms. I totally gotta fight the left or kill the left or whatever. Something like that. Same with, I don't want people to just go after the right. And I feel like, getting back to my original point, people don't know how to really handle death in America, because people act like someone's death that you care about means you have to totally lose your shit against any party that the assassin was associated with. I had a little phrase, like any party, sorry, I had a little glitch, I hope it still keeps recording. Like any party the assassin was associated with is what you have to go after, what you really have to do, or how things have to really run. Someone shot a lefty, shot a righty, now that means you go after all the left, or at least get amped up against them. I don't think that's how you should look at a death. Maybe we should look at it with, okay, yeah, he shouldn't have died for this, even if we disagree with him, even if he had bad viewpoints, even if he was a bad person. I think people should look at it like that for starters, and if he was definitely a good person, he should definitely be honored and stuff. I mean, and I don't think people it's hard to unpack all this shit. I don't think people should look at people's steps and it's like, this is a time to rise. I won't say this is a time for change and mourning, of course, but to act like, you just have a knee-jerk reaction to someone's death and, I don't know, misplaced anger or whatever on people who don't exactly deserve misplaced anger. I don't think that's the way I look at it. Like, look at his death. Like, to look at his death for an excuse to go wild, I don't agree with that kind of viewpoint. To look at his death as a reason to fix things, sure, but to go wild, I don't agree with that. I can't agree with that. So, anyways, there's the Ukrainian refugee stabbing. Woman got stabbed on a Ukrainian girl. Okay. She was stabbed. Okay. Irina Zarutska was stabbed on August 22nd, 2025 in Charlotte, North Carolina on a subway by a suspect named Carlos Brown. He got arrested. He could receive the death penalty. I heard he had a record of violent. assaults, doing violent crime, that he wasn't really punished for that or punished hard enough. Of course, he was free enough to be able to kill her, unfortunately. And I feel like in addition to mourning her, people should look at this as a time to get prepared, like get a gun, learn how to use it, learn first aid, learn how to at least get up and do something, like at least call 911 or at least try to run over to the victim of stabbing or shooting, whatever, to stop the bleeding or something. Do something, or most of all, you have to fight against the attacker. Like, I think if everyone just like bum rush this guy, bum rushing is when everyone just goes rushing at you all at once to clobber you, or you rush at someone to clobber them. I think they could have stopped the stabbing or at least made it less severe. You see a video, like everyone's just kind of aimlessly moping around, so to speak, and he's able to kill her, which sucks. And I don't think I can understand people feeling hopeless, but I don't see this as a time to feel hopeless. I see this as a time to get empowered and be prepared to fight back and fight for other people, rather than get scared and mad and annoyed that people aren't. That didn't help her. I mean, I'm don't get me wrong. I'm upset that people didn't help her either, but this isn't the time to just go into hopelessness. This is the time to take action and better yourselves, so this kind of thing doesn't happen again, or at least it's less likely to happen. Or if it does happen, it's not as bad or it's mitigated. Whatever. Anyways, that's kind of how I have to say about that. And Minneapolis shooting with the church, that was tragic. You had 2 kids die, and I think the shooter died. There was this other church shooting where the church shooter got run over by a guy with a truck. Over. And there was in Wayne, Michigan, at a Cross Point Community Church, a church deacon purposely hit him with a truck. He purposely hit the shooter with a truck. As soon as he knew he was a shooter and engaged him, he hit him with a truck. And then some other guys killed him. Killed the shooter. And them being able to kill the shooter was greatly helped by him making the first move and knocking him down with the truck. So, what I'm trying to say is, church shootings, as well as shootings, can be a disaster, but sometimes people can save others. Like they did at the Cross Point Community Church. I know things weren't so great at, like, Arminius, actually it's called a Catholic church school shooting. Church of Annunciation, 2 children died. It's in Minneapolis, Minnesota. Okay, obviously that shooting turned out tragic because, some people died, some kids died, but the Wayne, Michigan church shooting, at least that wasn't tragic, since the shooter was taken down before anyone was killed or assaulted, because nobody died. No casualties but the shooter. So, it is possible, what I'm trying to say is it is possible to prevent these tragedies, or at least mitigate them if they happen anyway. People don't need to feel hopeless, like, oh, where are we safe in America anymore, or in the world, when you can't even go to church or school, church, whatever, without being shot at or shot dead. And I think people need to look at both the church shootings where things went very bad, or at least one innocent person died, and things where it didn't go as bad, where like the shooter was taken down before anyone innocent would be taken down, and they should compare the events and see what can we do to make less of the bad church incidents, more of the good church incidents where people survive, the shooter was taken down before he did harm others, that kind of thing. I mean, the fact that the first thing people think about with this whole shooting stuff is, gun control, is really sad. It shows people have been, like, indoctrinated or conditioned to think very poorly, very inappropriately to violence. Act like whenever something violent happens, you just call for more gun control or knife control or any weapon control, really. That's not how you think. That just makes things worse with more policy implemented. Like in the UK, I heard they banned a lot of knives there, and you still have stabbings. And you still have shootings. They banned a lot of guns in the UK, you still have a lot of shootings and a lot of stabbings. They banned a lot of guns, a lot of knives, still lots of shootings, still lots of stabbings. Because criminals don't obey laws. They disobey laws, that was make criminals, and even if you can't punish them for breaking the laws, if you can't intercept them after the fact, then well, they managed to carry out the deed after the fact. They killed a person, even if you can punish them for owning an illegal gun or an illegal knife, illegal whatever. They can still do what they did. Some criminals don't even get punished at all, or some just get released or whatever. Anyways, people need to be trained to protect themselves and each other rather than more gun control. Because that's not gonna work. It's not gonna work to just have more policy, more public policy, more gun control, or more background checks or mental health checks for guns. That's not gonna work. It's gonna work when people start protecting each other more often and themselves more often, and be able to come up with find out the underlying problem, find a solution to that, or at least mitigation to that. Like, why do people even want to harm others? Why do people even want to shoot others unjustly for whatever reason? Why do people want to stab each other unjustly for whatever reason? Why do people even want to beat each other dead with their bare hands for whatever reason? Trying to do like some gun control or knife control, that's just so fucking lazy. It's like, there's this underlying issue where people are violent, and I'm just gonna go to public policy and ban guns, and call it done, or at least largely done, or at least partially done. That's not right. That doesn't work. You should want to look at the bigger picture and solve the problem, not just gun control. That's stupid. Like I keep saying billions of times, keep in mind these shooters didn't follow gun control. They got the gun and they murdered someone anyway. It's illegal to murder people, period. And it's illegal to murder people with a gun, period. And they still did both. They still got the gun, and they still murdered with it. So gun control wouldn't work. You can just make gun control stronger and say, we'll ban more weapons, more ammo, and more amounts of ammo, and stuff like that. But that doesn't change the fact that criminals can get the guns, whether banned or not. And the ammo, whether banned or not. Use it, whether banned or not. You're just making it harder for law-abiding citizens to get the tools they need or even just want for protection. Criminals, they can pick whatever they want. As long as they can get their hands on it, they can pick whatever they want. Gun control isn't going to stop them from getting their hands on it. Remember, a lot of criminals get their guns from theft or the black market, which in and of itself often gets its guns from theft or scavenging or whatever. And who are some of those people that are scavenged or stolen from to get guns in the black market in the first place? Get them in the criminals' hands in the first place? Cops and soldiers. I kid you not, there have been incidents of gun theft when guns were outright stolen from soldiers and cops. The very people most gun control proponents think should be the only ones that have guns end up inadvertently providing them to the people they think shouldn't have guns, which is criminals. Like, if that doesn't tell you gun control doesn't work, I don't know what will. If the very people you think shouldn't have guns end up getting their guns stolen into the hands of the very people you think shouldn't have guns. Okay, but maybe that's a bit of a tangent about, gun control. We all know how I feel and how that thing rolls out. But anyways, violence in general. I'm disgusted with violence, especially in this country, and how bad it's gone, how people shoot each other over everything nowadays, or kill each other, whatever, mass shootings, or there's this one guy that shot a fast food worker. This one fast food worker shot a customer that he had a disagreement with. You got people shooting each other. You got this one guy that got into an argument in New York over someone not thanking him for holding the door open, and that guy stabbed the guy that was giving him a hard time for not thanking him for holding the door open. And then you got But you still have people shooting each other over dog poop or whatever, all kinds of shit, basically. I'm trying to think, how do you get society to have peaceful conflict resolution rather than pew pew or stab 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 or violence? How do you get people to handle things peacefully rather than with violence? And only using violence is absolutely necessary, especially deadly force, if no other thing can be done. If that's the only choice they have, which isn't really a choice then. I mean, because I feel like here's one thing I will say about a lot of the pro-gun community that I don't like. I feel like a lot of them exaggerate how much having a gun to protect yourself and using it solves the problem. Yes, it does solve the problem of the immediate problem of how do I stay alive? How do I keep others alive? How do I make the shooter not be alive to harm people anymore? I mean, like I said before, self-defense is stopping someone. Self-defense is harming someone new to stop them from harming you and or someone else. That's what self-defense is. Any killing after that is either like justice or pure rage or whatever, or revenge or whatever. That's different self-defense. But I guess that, self-defense, especially deadly force, is only harming someone to stop them from harming you. And I say this because that is a main thing that owning the gun is all about, is using it to harm or at least threaten to keep in check or at bay violent perpetrators. I get that. To act like it solves more than just how do I stay alive, it's him or me and make the killer die instead if necessary. To act like it does more to solve the whole problem of violence as a whole is just totally misguided. Yes, you killed a bad guy. I mean, yes, you kill the bad guy. If it ultimately comes to that, if you win, of course. Or yes, you injure the bad guy and get him hauled away by the police into a hospital if he survives with medical attention. Or you even just shoot the shoot the warren, or even aim the warren and the bad guy goes straight away. I get the immediate part of the problem it solves, which is just you staying alive and them being harmed in the process, or at least put at bay to stop them from harming you. I get that, but it doesn't really address why was the thug a thug in the first place? Like, why did they decide to victimize someone? To go, I'm gonna kill this person for this reason. What made him do that? But having a gun to protect yourself against them doesn't address that. It just protects you and others, which is a good thing, and that is ultimately the most important immediate thing, but it doesn't explain why they even do it in the first place. I mean, some people might be like, well, who cares? Who gives a shit? They're evil. They're dangerous. They need to die. And I can get that, I can get that. Them being a thug is them being a thug. Why do we need to go into a deeper analysis of why they're even a thug in the first place? Just get rid of them. Just kill them. Done. Simple as that. I can understand that. But the reason why you do have to ultimately delve deeper to ultimately solve the problem is because, well, this is what's causing the problem, whatever that thing is, just to come to fruition. You can't just go, who cares about the murderer or rapist or molester, whatever, child molester or groper or whatever. Who cares why the perpetrator did what they did? I just care that they're dead. I understand that mentality, because when someone is so evil, they do the worst. It's very easy to be very dismissive of their purpose of doing it, their motive, their reason for doing it, their existence, what could have will let them down the wrong path in that moment. I can understand that. You just want them gone. But to dismiss that would be to kind of ignore the problem in a way, because you're not trying to uncondition people, individuals, to just not do this bad stuff. You're taking them out if they do it, if they try it, but you're not making them not do it in the first place. And people need to really question, why are people evil in the first place? People need to question that. And I know that question has very many nuances, and it's complicated, and I guess people have wondered at the beginning of time, since the beginning of time, why are people even bad in the first place, and could have many different answers, or varies from person to person, whatever. I can understand that, which is why the question needs to be asked. Since it's important why people do anything to begin with, that needs to be addressed. I'm sorry, I'm really all over the place, aren't I? It's just that it's about it's. I mean, the ultimate way to solve a problem is to prevent it in the first place, or at least try to fix it when it happens. But you definitely want to know what's going on. Otherwise, you're just gonna be fighting forever, essentially. If all people do is get and use guns to protect themselves from mass shooters under thugs, but don't solve the problem to what makes them thugs in the first place to prevent them from being that way, then you're just gonna be fighting thugs forever. It's okay, we can take down all these people who do violent crime because we're armed, but they just keep popping up. It's we need to figure out what's making them do all this shit to stop this shit from happening so often in the first place. I mean, defensive gun use, sure, that's great, but that doesn't solve what even makes a thug to the point where you have to shoot in the first place. Stops them, sure, if you win, but it doesn't prevent them from even having to go through that, or you and even them to have to go through that whole ordeal in the first place. I want to prevent bad guys, as well as rehabilitate ones that are already bad and already done bad stuff, and as well as punish bad ones. I mean, you do need some punishment in addition to rehabilitation, because, well, I guess people that do bad things to others have bad things to other than them. It doesn't make sense for them to just have their life be all hunky-dory when they made another person's life the exact opposite of that. They should have to suffer it too. I agree with that. But I also agree they should be rehabilitated so that when they get released, if they do get released, and even if they don't get released, even if they get a life sentence or even death penalty, in case they do escape, it'd be good to rehabilitate criminals anyway, so in case they do escape and decide to reoffend during that time they escaped. As well as the fact that I believe people should eventually get around to knowing why what they did was wrong, and to changing their ways, or at least not wanting to do it anymore. And prevention will be the best thing, because stop people in the first place. Stop someone from getting to the point where they not only harm someone, but in turn deserve a lot of harm themselves, or even death, or whatever. Whether it be from the death penalty or deadly force, whatever. So basically, to kind of come back to the beginning, or to wrap it up, this video or whatever, I don't want people to see Kirk's, or anyone's death as something to just get so riled up about that you just cause more violence, more unnecessary violence, or you don't learn anything from this death, or anyone's death. If all it takes for you to, if someone dies, whether it be on the right, left, or it doesn't matter, whatever, it's just someone dies, and your first thought is to just rise up against whoever the shooter was potentially or definitely associated with, then you're not looking at their death the right way. You're not looking at their death as something to be solved, as part of some underlying problem to solve in society. You're looking at their death as an excuse to go against people you hate or don't like, maybe with justified reason, but I wouldn't just go someone who killed someone I cared about was of this group, I need to go raise hell against that group. No, it's not about that. It's about solving the underlying problem of violence, and morality, and getting along, conflict resolution, de-escalation skills, and all of that. I really hope I'm not... God damn it. I hope I'm not wrong in making this video and stuff, and I hope I'm being respectful about the subject matter. I guess I felt like I just had to cover it since it's relevant, and I guess everyone else covered it and had their takes. I guess I felt like it's time to throw my hat in the ring and have my own take on the shooting. Even Larkin Rose had his own take on the shooting. So yeah, if something violent happens, look towards what violence is really all about, and it was all about, and try to solve it rather than just an opportunity to rise against whatever group they should associate with or potentially associate with. So, yeah, I guess that's all I have to say. This is an ANCAP Cat signing out.